All right. So thanks again, everyone, for being here. Welcome. For those of you who have just joined, my name is Margie Tyner, and I am one of the teaching and learning coordinators here at CAMI. And I am so excited to dive into CAMI with Google Classroom today with you all to show you all of the amazing ways that you can bring your learning to life. I am joined by my fabulous teammate, your CAMI customer manager, Katie. Katie, do you want to say hi?
Everyone, good to see everyone. Happy to be here.
We are so excited you are here because you guys, you had a lot of choices for the sessions you could have picked out today, and you chose this one. Now, we still have some folks rolling in, so that's no problem. If you joined us early and you checked in the chat, thanks for letting me know what you're teaching. If you just joined us, welcome. If you'd like, go ahead and drop in the chat, what do you teach? I'm going to base the different activities I show you today as best I can on things that are relevant for you. So if you're in a special area, like I know we've got some sports medicine teachers, we've got some macroeconomics, that's not my wheelhouse. That's yours. You guys are the experts. So I might be leaning on you for some things you do in your classrooms. But regardless of my previous teaching experience, know that I'm here to help. I've been in education for almost 20 years, and I've taught a wide variety of subject levels in my time in the classroom, as well as being a STEM instructor, a math specialist, and an instructional technology coach. Now, I'm a teaching and learning coordinator at CAMI, so I am here to help you know purposeful ways to include technology with the things you're already doing with students in your classroom using the CAMI platform. Now, I see lots more people chiming in the chat. Thank you so much. I see English, math, social studies, science. We got a whole gamut of folks here today. So the good news is CAMI is a really great platform, no matter what you're teaching or the age level or ability level of your students. Now, quick check. When it comes to CAMI, just in the chat, let me know a number. Where are you? On a scale of 1 to 5. So quick formative assessment. Let's do a pulse check. Are you brand new? Is this about to be your very first time ever even signing into CAMI? Have you dabbled around? Maybe you've tried it once or twice, but okay, I don't really know too much about it. I'm here to learn. 3, maybe you've tried it with students. 4, you use it with students frequently. Or 5, you are like me and you are madly in love with all the things CAMI can do in your classroom. All right, I see numbers pouring in the chat. I love this. You guys are, I love the honesty. I see decimals. I see ish. That's beautiful. A dabbler. Tried it once or twice. This is fantastic. Kathy, there's not a sign-in sheet, but there is a sign-in link, which I'm going to give in just a few minutes because I want to make sure everybody who signed up to join has a chance to get in. So don't worry, that is coming. Now, there's no wrong place to be in your CAMI journey for this session. This is a session that is going to get not too deep, but we are going to talk about some more advanced stuff as well for those of you who have maybe used CAMI frequently or you're almost madly in love with it, because a few of you were up there. But for most of us, you're in exactly the right spot. This is a beginner level session. So we're going to go at kind of a moderate pace and know that if you have questions at any time, all you have to do is ask. This is your time to learn, and that's what I am here for. So today, we're going to be talking about CAMI and what you can do with it. Now, for those of you who rated yourselves a little higher on that scale, maybe you're like me. Maybe you first discovered CAMI during COVID. I was still in the classroom teaching math and science at the time, and I had someone tell me, Margie, you got to try this tool. It's so amazing. You know, back when everybody was giving away all the tech tools for free because we were all grasping at straw and ripping our hair out about what are we going to do. That's when I heard about CAMI. And they told me it's a PDF annotation tool. Does that sound familiar? That's what CAMI's best known for. In the beginning, when CAMI first came about, it was in fact a PDF annotation tool. And if you were like me, you heard the word PDF and thought worksheet. And you heard annotation and thought digital pen and highlighter. It has those things and it does those things, but it also does a whole lot more. Kami's actually been around for almost 13 years now, and it's done nothing but grow. It's an all-in-one platform that's even earned the SUHSD seal. So know that you can take anything you are already teaching with, not just PDFs. Bring it into the platform and level it up so that you can reach your students. It's going to help you make things more engaging, more interactive, and keep a constant pulse check on where your students are with their understanding, while also empowering them with tools to help them understand and learn. Kami's great at any point in the classroom. You can level up materials before you share them with students. You can use them as you're doing feedback and grading. You can even use them after grades are in to get insights and data with the click of a button. So if you've just known us as a PDF annotator, know that there's a lot more possibilities. Now, we've got a lot to do in our hour, so we're going to dive right in. First, I've got some quick housekeeping. Then we're going to get hands-on, and the rest of our session is all about practicing and applying your knowledge. So we're going to get hands-on and try out some of the tools today, as well as talk about how do you actually use this with students. When you're getting ready to teach, how do you get stuff ready? When it's time to go, how do I get it to students? By the end of the session, you're going to know how to do all of that. All right, housekeeping. Kami is web-based, and it works as long as you've got the extension installed on your device. So quick check on your web browser. If you do not already see, it's up here next to the end of the address bar. If you don't already see that purple Kami K, the little icon, check the puzzle piece. When you click on the puzzle piece, it'll bring down a drop-down list of all the extensions that have been installed on your device. You should see Kami for Google Chrome. Kami's already installed on your school devices for you from your district. So if you don't see that purple Kami K, but you'd like to see it all the time, you just click the push pin that's next to the name and the icon. That'll keep it on your toolbar for quick, easy access with the click of a button. Now, if for some reason, don't be like me, but if you were ever like me and spending hours of your own personal time working on school things, know that you can also get the extension on your personal devices. It is free to download. So if you are ever interested in having it on a different device, know that you can get that there as well. And when you have that Kami extension installed on your device, it gets you access to open Kami with the click of a button from all sorts of the resources you may already be teaching with. You can use things like Google Docs, slides, sheets. Used to be able to use Jamboard when that was still around, but now Jamboards, if you haven't already downloaded them as PDFs, that's not supported by Jamboard and Google anymore. So know that you can still use those resources if you want to bring them over to Kami. You can also get there from your Google Drive, right from Google Classroom, as well as loads of other places like Canva for Education or Teachers Pay Teachers, or lots of other things you may already be using. So Kami is not about reinventing the wheel. It's about making better use of the resources that you already use. Now, I'm going to share a doc with you, and this is where we're going to get hands-on. I'm going to show you a way that you can share things with students. Now, normally, best practice is to assign this right through your Google Classroom because you all have the Google Classroom integration. But since I'm not in the same domain as you, I don't have a shared Google Classroom. So here's what I'm going to do. On my document that we're all going to dive in on, I'm going to click this big purple share button. Now, when you click that button as the owner of the document, you get the menu of share settings. This will bring you to being able to change your link so that anyone with the link can either view, edit, or get their own copy. In this case, I'm making everyone an editor because we're going to collaborate and work together. Now, with the click of a button, I can copy the link or grab a QR code and then give it out in a way that makes the most sense for my students, which today is you guys. So we're going to role play. Today you are in my class, and I am going to go ahead and drop this link into the chat for you. So here's what I'd like you to do. Take a second to click on that link. It's going to open up in another tab. Now, if you've ever signed into Kami before, your screen you'll log in and you'll look just like what you see on our Google Meet here. You'll see our agenda. If it is your very first time ever signing into Kami today, for those of you that were a 1, if you've never signed in before, when you first click on that link, it's going to bring up a screen that'll help you create your user profile. So you'll use your single sign-on with Google and then answer the quick questions that pop up. You're a teacher, you're using it at school, your LMS is Google Classroom, and then you're good to go. Can I rename the link? Is it necessary to identify the document later? That is a great question. When you share this link, this is what you get. It's a Kami share link. So when I put it up for students, and I'll post it right here so you can see it nice and big, let me tell you a couple things about Kami share links. They look a little funky. First, know that you do not need to type if you're having to hand type instead of click. You don't need that HTTPS part in the front. If you just open up a tab in your web browser and started typing, this is all you need. Kami.app, the backslash and everything that comes behind it. Now you can't change the back end of this URL because it's unique to the document that you've shared, but it's not case sensitive. So if you have folks that are having trouble telling what a letter is, like maybe that lowercase a was throwing some folks off, you could just make it a capital letter. So depending on the age of your students, the needs of your students, capital I might be confusing because it looks like an L, so let's leave that lowercase. Not case sensitive, but you do need the hyphens. Now, if you're sharing a link this way, where folks are going to be hand typing it in or clicking it, and they're not in your Google Classroom, that link is what they're going to see. If we were in the same Google Classroom, however, they're not even going to see the link. They're going to have a button to click. Great question. All right. Now, that hopefully has been enough time for all of you to get in. So if you are not on the window where you can see the Google Meet, come on back where you can see me. And let's take a quick walk around the agenda before we get hands-on and dive in. So fun fact, the Kami tools work very similarly to those computer-based testing softwares you might know and love. Meaning, you need to make sure you're on the select tool if you're trying to click on a link. If you're on another tool, like say the drawing tool, and you go to click on a link, it's going to draw or do whatever tool you're on rather than actually clicking. So make sure you're on the select tool to start with. Now, here's the important part. Are you listening? Because this is how you get paid. Here is your individual sign-in link for your district. You want to make sure you are on the select tool. It is this purple link right here at the top under district links where it says sign in. When you click that link, oh, not white, we can't see that. Let's use red. Let's make it obvious. When you click on that link right there, it will take you to the sign-in for your district so that you can make sure you get credit and get paid correctly. So please do make sure that you do that today. Now, if you need that link in a different way, I am going to drop that into our Google Meet chat. So give me just a second while I go over to our sheet and make sure I've grabbed you the right one for the right session. There we go. And that is coming to you in the Google Meet chat now. Now those go the same place. So if you clicked it on our agenda, you don't need to also click it in the Google Meet and vice versa. Please feel free to click it from whichever place is best for you. Now I'm not in your district, so I have no idea what information it's asking you for, but please make sure you fill it out correctly. And then we're ready to dive in and get hands-on. So before we start our hands-on activity, I'll keep talking through what's on the agenda while you're filling that out in case you need a little more time. But I want you to know this first page here, this is going to be shared with you from the district. So you'll have access to all of the hands-on activities we're doing today. And it's this first page that's most important. This first page not only gives you reminders about all the things we've talked about today, but also is chock full of resources so that later when you need to refer back to something, you're not going to need to rewatch the entire hour training unless you'd like to. You can just click and get a quick micro-learning video or a resource that you can read and see screenshots so that you can have the information you need when you need it. Now, which app did I use to create this document? You're close. It's not a Google Doc. It's actually Google Slides. I wasn't kidding when I told you you don't have to start as a PDF. In fact, I'll even give you a little peek behind the curtain over here in my Google Drive. This is it right here. Here's our agenda. It's a Google Slide. Now, why did I pick Google Slides? Because as a teacher, Google Slides was my bread and butter. During the pandemic, I started doing digital notebooking, and I did everything with Google Slides because I came from a Google district, and I was tired of my students losing their notebooks and pencils. When they had a digital copy, it was really easy for me to know that they still had it and to see what they were doing. Now, what wasn't easy for me was when we shared things collaboratively and suddenly the last 6 pages disappeared, or someone resized an image and made it look goofy. That's where Kami comes in really handy, because you can still use the resources you're already using and design your teaching in the same way that you're already used to and work best. I can design some Google slide decks in a couple of minutes. But to avoid the headache of that collaborative hassle where things might accidentally get moved around, erased, deleted, modified when I don't want them, because I have the Kami extension, I can go from Google into a flattened PDF version with a single click. And that's what I did to share it with you all today. I clicked this Open with Kami button, which is very close to the Google History button if you're having trouble finding it. Now, if you don't see that button at all, that's a dead giveaway that you don't have the Kami extension installed on your device, because having the extension is the only way you can see this button. Now, like I said, there's lots of entry points for how you get materials in. So although I started with that Google slide, you don't have to start in Google. You could start right with something already saved in your drive. If you've got district resources that are a PDF, or you've got your favorite thing that you made in Canva, or you've got some other file that you want to use, know that you can bring that right into Kami. And now, before we dive more into that process, let's get hands-on. Let's try some of these things out. Now, Charles asked, every time we sign into Kami, this resource page will pop up? No. When you sign into Kami, one of two things will happen. If you are in your own drive, and in fact, let me go into, nope, let's go here. And then there, pay no attention to my terribly unorganized Google Drive. I meant to clean it up this summer and I have not made it there yet. But let's say you're just in Google. You're in your drive, you're looking for a resource. Maybe I want to use this social studies textbook here. When you are looking at a resource and you click Open With and choose Annotate with Kami, it's going to open whatever resource directly into Kami. So you won't be looking at the page that I've shared with you. Now, the page that I've shared with you that's full of resources, I'm going to suggest you do one of two things. Either bookmark it so you can easily come back here, or at some point later, click this little arrow that's pointing down. It's the export button. And then you can download a copy and save it on your own device. That way you never have to worry about losing it, because you'll have your own copy of this that you can have stored wherever you'd like. You've got access to that. And it's going to get emailed out, and I believe also shared on SCED as well. So lots of ways to get back to it. And that's a great question, because it's got a lot of resources you're going to want to have. Now let's dive in. Let's try some of these things. You've got two options. Option one, where it says, let's collaborate, that big orange piece of text there is a hyperlink. So feel free to click that and it will jump you down to the right page. You can also use the arrow keys on your keyboard. Left and right will navigate you forward or backward in our document today, or just scroll. Now, you may have also noticed that your view might look a little different than mine. On your screen, I'm going to go ahead and open up a different account over here. This is my student. And this is exactly what I had you do. I had you go to the link, and when it opened, you might have noticed it's pretty zoomed out, and your toolbar looks a bit different than mine does. Oh, Jose, I'm sorry. It says you don't have permission to download this file. After we are done with our session today, I will make sure I've gone back in my settings and changed that. I'll update that so you do. My apologies. I meant to have it set that way before you got here. Now, if you are like me and you like for your document to take up the entire space you have available on your screen, know that you can customize how you are viewing this, and it will not affect anyone else's view. In that bottom right corner, you've got access to zoom in or out, as well as quickly navigate to any page in the document. So if you would like to make it bigger, please feel free to do so. Now, on the first two pages are exactly the same because I wanted to make sure that we had enough space for everybody that had registered to be here. So here's what I'd like you to do. Let me know who's here today. Now, some of you already checked in the chat, but regardless of if you checked in or not, please feel free to try out these tools. Now, you've got a couple of options. There's the text box, which of course lets you write text. And there's also add media. I love this. Look, class clown. Who's here? I am. You guys are really giving me this true student experience today because that's exactly what some of my students would do. Now, try any of the tools you like on your toolbar. If you're using the text box and it's your first time, play around with it and see what you can do. There's two different options for using speech to text when you're using the text box. I'll tell you where those are in a few minutes. And if you're under add media and you're feeling real brave, please feel free to try out that camera tool and add your lovely selfie to our graffiti wall for who's here. And I know nobody likes to be the first to go first, so I'll go first. Now I'm going to go down to the next page because I see lots of people adding and I don't want to be in your way. And I'm also going to crop my picture and make it much smaller. All right, look at you guys go. I see folks changing colors. Yes, this is fabulous. Now, in the chat, Aaron was wondering where his tools went. Aaron, that's a great question because on my view where I can see what I gave you all, you have like 4 or 5 tools. But on my version, I have an entire toolbar. Is this broken? Yay, somebody else tried the camera tool. Oh, Jose, put it back. You have such a fun hat. It's not broken. It's actually simplified like this by design. So if you're still playing, feel free to play. I'll talk you through a few more things, and then I'll ask you to come back so you can see me. On Kami, as the owner of a document, as the teacher, you will always have access to all of the tools on the toolbar. That way, you have everything you need. But when you go to share it with students, depending on how you assign it, you can actually limit the tools on their toolbar, which is like what I modeled for you all today. Giving them just access to the tools they need to be successful helps learners in so many ways for so many different reasons. And Kami is one of very few tech tools that lets you have that level of control. So if you know you've got, let's say, a student with attention deficit disorder and having a whole toolbar full of tools means they're spending the next 20 minutes making selfies and playing with the stickers instead of actually listening to you and doing their assignment. You can help them out by simplifying that toolbar and taking that tool off when they don't need it. If you've got students who are multilingual and would really benefit from having less tools, or it's their first time being on Kami and you really need to walk them through some things, you can customize the student experience so that they have what they need to be successful. And if you're in the middle of the lesson and you figured out that, oh man, I really need my students to have access to, let's say, the dictionary, and you don't have it, not a problem, because you can change these things at any time. Now, if you're still playing around, don't worry, we're coming back for more, but make sure you can see the Google Meet because I'm going to show you how I changed the tools. Here we go. Now, up in that same place I was earlier, where I clicked the big purple share button, you might have noticed there's this extra thing here called feature control. That's a Kami feature. With feature control, you can turn on or off whole tools, parts of tools, whatever you like. Customize it and give students the experience they need to be successful. Now, in just a second, I'll go ahead and turn them all on for you. They go in the same order from top to bottom that you as the teacher and the owner of the document will always see them. So if you know there's a tool that should be down on the bottom you need to turn on, you can just quickly zoom and find it. Now you can also customize support features. So things like voice typing, spell checking, those are fabulous. They're great accommodations, but not always appropriate in all situations, right? If I'm an ELA teacher trying to determine if my students can correctly edit and compose writing, I might not want them to have access to those things. So know that you can turn them on or off. You can even turn on or off the ability to copy and paste. So while I can't help you stop kids from going to places like ChatGPT or Wikipedia or wherever else they're going these days, I can at least help you throw the speed bump in the way that they can't just copy and paste and say it's their own. Now, I'll leave that on for all of you. If these are options that you want Kami to remember and just already have ready to go the next time you go to share something, there's a little checkbox to remember your options. If this is custom, I'm changing this right now, don't check the box. Once you've got everything set the way you want, as soon as you click OK, before I even get over here to my other screen, all of your toolbars have just updated, and you didn't have to do a thing. You didn't have to refresh, you didn't have to reload, you didn't have to click a button or a pop-up. You just got instant access to the tools you needed when you needed them. So that is a really powerful thing that you can do when you are in Kami. You can customize your student's experience. Now, I see some pictures up here, which I absolutely love that you guys got brave enough to joining me in adding your faces. Thank you for that. Now, I'm going to scroll on down. Hey, we got another one. Fabulous. Here on page 3, I'm going to pause here for just a second because before we go to the next activity, I want to show you some things about that text box since that's where we all started. With the text box, it looks super basic when you first click on it. But once you've picked whatever color you'd like your text to be and you've clicked on the page, this is where the magic happens. Now, I'm going to see if I can zoom in a bit here. There we go. Now, I want you to watch this top space on my screen. When you click the text box, you get an entire text editing bar that pops up across the top. If you didn't notice that, it's important because this is how you change the font. There's lots of fun ones in here. Some of them make my kindergarten teacher heart happy, but there are multiple fonts in here that I like to call out because they are researched back to help folks with dyslexia have an easier time reading what you've added to the page. So know that things like Open Dyslexic, Moolish, Lexind. There's lots of fonts in here to help with that. Lexind is my favorite out of all of those. So that's the one I'm picking. All the text editing things you would expect are here. Change the font, the size, the color, the format, bold, italics, all that stuff. But for my science and math teachers, you also have quick access to do things like type subscripts and superscripts. So if you need to make that chemical formula, we got you. If you need to type a math equation, this is super basic, but here we go. You can do that all from the text box. You can also do things like add in hyperlinks, emojis, or with this little function button right here, f of x, you can have access to any of the math or science symbols that are available from the equation tool while still being in the text box bar. It's a quick click, either search or visually find the symbol that you are looking for, and then click. Let's say maybe I needed that greater than or less than sign. To go back to writing in my text box, just press the right arrow key, and now I'm back to having that rich text editor bar. Are there keyboard shortcuts for the sub and superscripts? Yes, you are not stuck with clickety-click. The keyboard shortcuts that are already there for those exponents, it's the caret on your keyboard. So shift with the 6. I don't remember what the subscript one is off the top of my head, but I do know that it is possible. But you can do that all in a line. So if you are doing something as complex as, say, I don't know, the Pythagorean theorem, you can type it all out. And for those of you who are not math brained and not typing out Pythagorean theorems, know that you can get to voice typing over here on the end of the text bar. When you click the microphone, you can now talk out all of your thoughts to your heart's content, and then just click it again to put it away. Now, apologies, I forgot that I had super zoomed in so you could see that. Let me zoom back out to normal size. And let's resize this text box so it gets out of the way. Ta-da! All right, now, I want you to do 2 things as we are playing on the next one. On the next thing we're going to dive into, we're coming down to pages 4 and 5. And I see some of you are already here. Yay! I'm glad you're learning more about Cami. Fabulous. All right, here's my challenge for you. Find a tool that you haven't tried yet, because now you have them all on. Here's the cool thing. No matter what you click on here, you can't break this for anybody else. But I am going to give you one exception. I'm on my student view right now, and student accounts don't have access to something you'll still see because your profile is set as teacher. And that is the Questions AI tool. Questions AI allows you as the teacher to create some auto grading questions. And that is the one tool I'm going to ask you not to click on our collaborative document, because that will pop up a side panel on everyone's screen since we're all on the same document. So we'll save playing with that one for another time. But absolutely any other tool, please go ahead and try it out on page 4, because there's lots to find. I'm going to look through some of the other things you've got on here, and I'm going to give you about a minute and a half to go explore. So have fun. Are you having fun? I see so many things up here. Media, shapes. Some of you are trying out more things with that text box, stickers. Ah, Cammie's looking angry. We've got some graphic organizers. The chaos. I love it. This is what learning is, right? It's fun. It's messy. But if you're feeling overwhelmed, I got you. In about 10 more seconds, make sure you come back to the Google Meet window where you can see, and I will show you how you can simplify your screen if this chaos is feeling like a little too much. All right, you ready? Okay. As a teacher, you've got a little more power than your collaborators, your other students. So know that what I'm about to show you, you'll be able to do most of as a student. But I'll tell you the differences for what students can do and what teachers can do. Okay? Now, how do you know who did what? I am dying to know who just turned our cute little Shiba Inu dog into a vampire because I think that's hilarious. How do I know who did that? Well, when you're in Cammie in the collaborative space, all you have to do is hover over any annotation. Now, for me, when I first heard PDF annotator, remember my story at the beginning? I thought annotation meant something that you drew or highlighted, and it does, but it also means anything that you've added to the page, whether that is handwriting or a shape or a picture, a YouTube video, a GIF, a voice comment, whatever it is. Those are all annotations. So let me see who made this. When I hover over, you'll notice I get a little pop-up box. Now you can hover and get the same pop-up box with a few exceptions. When you hover over this as a teacher, you are going to see, if it is something like an image or a drawing or a shape, the initials of who made that annotation and the trash can. So that way you're still in control. If something's up there that shouldn't be, you can quickly trash it off of everyone's device. Students will just see the initials for the collaborator. Now you can also hover over the initials and then get the full name. If you are hovering over something that is text-based and read aloud is turned on for students, students will still see the collaborator icon and the option to have it read aloud. Teachers see those plus the ability to delete. So know that you can quickly hover and know who did what in an instant when you need to. Now, if you want the list, how do I know who's learning with me? Especially since we're virtual and you guys are not in the room. I can't cruise around and lean over your shoulder and see what you're doing. Anytime you want to know who's been on your digital document, there are icons up here in the top that show you your collaborators. When you click on it, it's going to bring up a side panel. Now I will zoom on in. Oh, nope. Sorry. Zoom to the document and not the screen. Let's fix that. All right. Hopefully that's big enough. You can see it nice and big. The collaborator side panel is going to show you some important things, like who is online on your document learning with you right now. So I know Tony is right here with me. He's on the document live. But Danielle, who I don't feel bad calling out because this is my co-teacher, Danielle is not on this document. In fact, the last time she opened this document was 19 hours ago. How do I know that? Because this is a grayed out timestamp that will just continue to update how long it's been since she accessed my document. So anyone that has ever accessed the document, I've got a record of it. And if they're live or not live, I can tell. So you can use that when you need to. Now that is something you can see. It is also something that students can see. Now for this next part, let me zoom back out. So now that you know kind of the nuts and bolts of what's on there, check this out. If you are someone who is feeling really overwhelmed by all the chaos of this collaborative space, you may have already noticed that in Cammie, you can't move or edit or delete another person's annotations. So as a student, your students cannot mess with anyone else's work, not yours, not their group mates, not the kid that they have a crush on. They can't do anything to it. So it's not like when you share with Google. As a teacher, you can, of course, do some things like delete and move them from the screen. But for students, when they're feeling overwhelmed or they need to simplify, or for you, when you've got the chaos of learning like my screen here, and you want to really highlight a single person's contribution, here's how you do that. With the collaborator menu pulled out, which remember we got by just opening that little side panel, you've got the option, there's a little eyeball when you hover over things. So you've got the option to turn things off. You can hide them from the screen one at a time, or zoom down to the bottom and say hide them all. Now that doesn't change it for anyone else except the person who's clicking those buttons. So if I go back over here to my student account, you'll see everything is still right where I left it because it's only on my teacher where I've hidden them. So your screen, if you look at yours, nothing's hidden unless you've clicked those buttons too. So if I'm a student and I am working with, I'm going to pick Amber, Gina, Jose, Katie, and I'll turn the teacher stuff back on. And I just want to focus on what my group has on the board. I can see just my group. This really helps pare it down visually for me so it's not as distracting. Now, if I'm the teacher and I want to see what a particular student has done, let's go check out, what's this guest person doing? Let's see. Now, if you want to talk about a particular thing as a class, let's say I really want to talk about, which one did I put? There we go. I really want to talk about this vampire dog. I can make it so that this is the only thing showing. And if this is up on the big interactive board in the room, we can have a whole conversation. Can you make it so that only the teacher can see the last time they logged in? Unfortunately, in the collaborative setting, no. In the collaborative setting, what you see in the side panel is the same thing our others use or see. Other users see. Ooh, that was a tongue twister. So that's not something you can do currently, but that is certainly a piece of feedback I'm happy to pass along to our engineers. Now, think about, this is just a fun little picture, but think about how you use this in class. Let's talk about how this math problem was solved. Let's break down what we're seeing in this primary source document. Let's talk about whatever argument we're making. Does this point justify, or what's the thesis, or what did this group come up with? How did they solve? What's their hypothesis? I mean, there are so many things you can do with this. And when you're ready to bring them all back, turn them on one at a time, or just turn them all on. And when you're done, you're ready to get rid of that side panel, you can either click the button at the top or click the icons again to toggle it and put it away. Now, I am loving this. You guys had so much fun. Yes, summer vacation. Got to soak that up while you got it. Now, on the rest of the document, I'm going to show you what's here before we move to the next thing. I gave you just a space to play. There's a digital playground space here. You can come back and explore any of the tools. And then down on the bottom, there's a reflective piece that we'll get to. But I'm going to shift gears for a second because I want to make sure before you leave me, you know how to use this with your students. So let's imagine I'm getting ready for that first day of school. I've got things that I need to get to my students, things that I want them to have. How is that going to look? Well, there's lots of entry points for how you can jump in. So remember, you can be looking at something that's already saved on your Google Drive. You can also just start from Google Classroom in the classroom where you wanted to assign something. There's no right or wrong. It is completely up to you, whatever is your preference, whatever is your workflow that works better for you. Now, let me know in the chat if you feel like you're somebody who you're going to start by looking at the document you want to assign to students, put a 1. If you are somebody who is, I already know what I'm assigning, I just want to assign it, let's start in Google Classroom, put a 2. Let me know in the chat which way makes the most sense for you. Should we start in Google Classroom? That's 2. Or should we start from Google Drive? That's a 1. All right, 2s, 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 2s. There's a couple of 1s in there. Don't worry, I'll show you both. But we're going to start right from Google Classroom. So you already know, you're ready to go. You know the materials. You've got the district curriculum that you know you have to use anyway. Let's go assign it to students. You're going to log into your Google Classroom and go to classwork. And then right up here at the top, click that big blue create button. Now the words that you are looking for are Kami assignment. There's usually also the Kami logo right next to it. There's a bug on my account, so my logo's not showing up, but you should see the words Kami assignment. If you don't, that means you don't have the extension on your device. Installing the extension fixes that. When you click Kami assignment, it's going to bring up a pop-up. Now, I'm not signed into Kami over here, so I'm going to go ahead and sign in. If you're ever wondering why Kami wants so much access to your Google account, I know it looks overwhelming and scary. You're literally just giving permission for Kami and Google to talk to each other so that if you delete something in Kami, it's also deleted from Google Drive and vice versa. Now I'm in. I'm logged into Kami. I've clicked that assignment. Now I'm ready to create. Now, if you were already logged into Kami, it just goes right to that pop-up. Now I need a few things. A title for my assignment. Let's call this one Getting to Know You. I need to know where my file is so that I can go get it and attach it. Now, if you've got it saved on your computer, you can go attach the file from your computer. If it is already saved in your Google Drive, click Google Drive. And if you need a handy template to get you started because it's the first week and it's back to school, or any other time of year really, we've got thousands of templates that are free that you can use on our website, and it's called Kami Library. That button will get you to all the free templates. Now, since I just mentioned those, and you might not have seen them, let me go ahead and click Kami Library. From here, I get to see all of the templates. So know that you can search by keyword, subject, type of activity, grade level, or any combination of those things. But since I just called this one Getting to Know You, and I'm thinking back to school, there's one I've got in my brain called All About Me, and I want this one right here because it's got lots of great options. So if you find one you like and you want to use it, know that they are completely free to use. All you do is click Open with Kami, and it will attach that file for you. Now, if you're not trying to attach a template because you've already got your curriculum, just go navigate to wherever it's located and select it. Once the file attaches, the default setting is that it's individually assigning to students. So it'll say make a copy for each student. If this is a collaborative activity for groups or for the whole class, just change the drop-down menu to say students share one copy. I'm going to be giving this one out individually, so I'm going to leave that as individually assigned. Over here on the right, I'm going to set all the things I normally would in my Google Classroom. If it's a graded assignment, the due date so that it goes to the right place in my calendar, all of those things. And if your class is organized by topic, where's it going? The bottom checkboxes are Kami options. You want to pay attention to these. Feature control, make sure that box is checked because that's how you get the option to control their student toolbar. So you can turn on just the tools that you know you want them to have to complete this assignment and not anything else, as well as all their other abilities like being able to copy and paste and all those things. Sending Kami instructions to students is not something that you need to do. If you want to check it out, please feel free. That is an automated little pop-up that will tell them how to install the Kami extension on their device, which they shouldn't need. The bottom one, however, I always recommend checking. Kami is a web-based platform, so it'll work from anywhere. It'll work from those Chromebooks they might be getting on at school, but it'll also work from the cell phone they might be on in the backseat of their best friend's car. When you add links for mobile devices, regardless of what kind of device your students are signing in from, it helps shortcut the process by giving them a special button that gets them in one click. So I always recommend turning that on. Then click Assign. Once you have assigned and your internet finishes thinking about what it's doing after lunch for me here, there we go. Once you have assigned, you're done. That's it. It's ready to go for students. It is that quick and easy. Now, it's right here up at the top. I'll switch over to Student View in a second. But for those of you that wanted to start from Google Drive, same process, super easy. Go in your Google Drive, find the file it is you want to assign. Let's say maybe I am doing a virtual museum project today. I'm going to open my file. I'm going to click Open with Kami. And as soon as it is in Kami, I want to say, yes, I'm going to convert this because it started as Google Slides. And now I'm going to flatten it into a PDF so that it opens in Kami and everything I designed stays exactly on the page where I designed it. This is like a digital copy machine, guys. Now I'm going to click the file icon. Create assignment is right here. So if you're ever starting from Kami, file icon, create assignment. This is the exact same pop-up we just saw when we started from Google Classroom, with one exception. This time my file is already here because I started from the file. What's not here is which Google Classroom I want it to be in because I have multiple Google Classrooms. So if you start from your file, it's already attached. All you need to do is tell it where to go. Okay, so same process, slightly different options. Both work and both work the same way. And pardon me while I'm talking and clicking because I got too many tabs open here and now I got lost. There we go. Back to my Google Classroom. Here's my work. Now, when you click on your work, here's that shortcut button because I added links for mobile devices. Here's the PDF that I've attached in case I need to see it. But let's leave it right here for a second and let's flip over and see what this looks like for your students. So you've assigned the work. What are the kids going to do? Well, as the student, they're going to navigate to the Google Classroom, and then however you assigned it, sorry, wrong class, this class, there we go. However you assigned it is where they're going to get to it. So if your kids are used to being right on the stream and seeing things, that's where they'll go. If they're used to going to classwork and clicking on things, that's where they go. So I'm in my Google Classroom. Here we go. One click on the name of the assignment. One click to open it with Kami. That's all they have to do. Once it loads, they're going to have access to whatever tools I've given them. See how my toolbar just updated? So now they can come in here and they can be doing the work that they need to do with just the tools that they need. Now check this out. Maybe it is the first day of school and I am in here and I see this says selfie. So let me go ahead and add my selfie with my camera tool. Maybe I am working away, but I get off task. So once I've added my selfie, instead of filling everything else out, I'm just in here playing. Or even worse, I'm stuck. My teacher wants to know all about me and I don't have anything to write with except a comment tool. I don't want to leave comments for everything. Miss Tyner, I'm kind of stuck because I'd really like to write or, type, and you didn't give me any of those text boxes. So now I'm sitting at my desk twiddling my thumbs because in the old days, I might not have caught this until I walked next to Margie's desk. But that's the other power of Kami and Google Classroom. Check this out. As the teacher, when I am in here looking at my assignment, I have this magical button called Class View. Class View! When you click it, it's exactly what it sounds like. A view of your whole class in real time as they are working. So when I see, as I'm zooming around here looking at what my kiddos are doing, let me go find Margie. She's way down here in the alphabet. I will be able to see what all of them are doing. And when she's left me a comment, I'm going to be able to listen to that. Now, you probably can't hear it because Google Meet is probably filtering it out as background noise, but I can listen to everything she's just said. And I can even leave her a reply right here. That's already on her page. And while she's reading my response, I can come right up here to this little one that looks like a slider bar. That's my assignment settings. And I can go into feature control and go give her the tools that, oh, I forgot, and I'm in a hurry. So let me actually just give them all to you. Her toolbar is updated before I even get back over here. And not only did it update for her, it updated for the whole class. So now everybody has the tools that they need. So now she can come in here and tell me that her favorite activity is soccer, or her favorite music artist is Taylor Swift. She could even give me a YouTube video if that's something I wanted. Now, there's loads of things that you can do in here. And the cool thing is, as you are working and doing your thing, the teacher's watching. So when a student is stuck, when there's a misconception, when the whole class needs a remediation, you've got options for this. Can you reply with an audio response? Absolutely. You can use any tool on this entire toolbar to interact with your students. They're all right here at your fingertips. And if you need to make changes for everybody, because you realize not only did I not give them the right tools, I also forgot to give them the directions. We got you. You don't have to delete the whole assignment and start over. You don't have to make a giant announcement and stop the whole class. There's a little toggle button right here in the top corner next to your initials. So you can go from looking at everybody working and switch to editing your assignment. So when you get back to the assignment, this is the template. If you realize you wanted to leave some instructions for everybody, maybe I'm going to grab the comment tool. No, I want it right on the page. I'm going to grab our camera tool. And of course, make sure it's got permissions. I'm going to record a quick video. Hey guys, here's my directions for this assignment. I'm cloning myself so that you can watch and rewatch and rewatch, and you don't have to ask me 5,000 times what you were supposed to do today, because it's right here, along with all my expectations, how you turn it in, what I want you to do afterwards. So there's no excuses, just empowerment to learn. And I can drop that right on the page, put it right where I want it to go, and hit update all. And as soon as I click this button, it's going to all of them. The kids that already have the assignment open is just going to appear. The kids that haven't opened it yet won't know it wasn't there in the first place. The ones who turned it in, yeah, they got it too. And when I want to go back to seeing all of them working, I just click the toggle and go. So you've got ways to scaffold and support all of your learners, whether they need things individually or as a whole class, on the fly, beforehand, afterwards when you're checking the work. You can even do your grading. Let's pretend Amelia was done and she had turned her paper in. I can come up here, put her grade in, and as soon as I've clicked out of that box where I just typed it, that grade is now in my Google Classroom gradebook, so I can keep it moving. Lots of things are possible when you make these Kami assignments inside of Google Classroom with that integration. It is so powerful. Now, we are right at 2 o'clock, so I'm going to leave you with two things. What inspired you? What do you want to try next? What questions might you still have? Anything you type on this document, it's collaborative, so we're going to see it. I'll come back and answer you. But before you go, I want to make sure on page 1, if you didn't already, don't forget to do that sign-in link so that you can make sure you get paid for being here and doing PD today. And there's the district feedback link. Make sure you've done those 2 for today. Other than that, there's a lot to explore. So know that everything we talked about today and then some, I've given you resources for. So if you want to dive in and learn more, please feel free to click on any of those purple hyperlinks. If you have questions as you start using it on your back to school, please know you can contact Katie or myself. Our information is right here as well. Now, I will drop that feedback link into the chat for you. Let me go grab it in case it is easier for you to grab it from our chat. There we go. Yep, absolutely, Romero. Here you go. All right. So again, thank you all so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you. I hope to see you again in one of our other CAMI sessions, and have a fantastic rest of your day learning and soaking up the rest of your summertime. Take care, everybody. You are so welcome.